Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alex, and today we're going to be talking about part 2 of the Ohio State Reformatory. So part 1 was talking all about the history. So in this video, we are not going to be discussing any history unless it talks about a person murdered or a specific ghost or something. So I highly recommend you go watch part 1 first so you fully understand everything about this prison, because I'm not going to be talking about it in this video. And I will also be talking about my own personal experiences, my evidence, and also 2 amazing videos of the tour guides using dowsing rods to talk to 2 different spirits. So, in the Ohio State Reformatory, there are 215 numbered markers laid row on row. Most were victims of disease, influenza, tuberculosis, and some died of less natural causes, like from violence, which is all too common inside of any prison, and was far from unknown in this one. Let's talk about the hole. This is, I believe, like underneath everything, they just have like these little tiny like holes, pretty much just like in the ground, just dug out. I'm gonna try to find a photo. I believe that the BuzzFeed Unsolved guys, they're not with BuzzFeed anymore, but I just have to say that. The BuzzFeed Unsolved guys, I believe, went down in there, so I'm gonna try to find a clip of that, because we did not go see this on the tour. But anyway, so while in the hole, at least one inmate managed to hang himself somehow. Another set himself on fire. Once 2 men were left too long in a single tomb-like cell, only one walked out, leaving his cellmate's body behind, stuffed underneath a bunk. That's crazy. In July of 1948, the reformatory's farm boss, his wife, and daughter were kidnapped and shot to death by 2 parolees bent on revenge. A 6-state manhunt for the so-called Mad Dog Eaters ended up in a shootout that left Robert Daniels of Columbus in custody and his partner, James West, dead. "Quote unquote, I'll get the chair," Daniels told the police as he signed the confession. And on January 3rd, 1949, he did. A year later, in 1950, disaster struck again. A little bit of background on this one. So from 1935 until 1959, Arthur Lewis Glackey was the superintendent. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing his last name. He met a woman named Helen a little bit after moving to the prison, and they got married. They had 2 sons. The youngest son is actually still alive today, and he lives out west. He's been a great resource of stories of what it was like to live in the prison with his family. Initially a political appointment, following Glackey's work on the Martin Davey campaign, by all accounts, Glackey was respected by professionals and inmates alike. He implemented many reforms, such as piped-in radio music to the cell blocks, which is awesome. In November of 1950, the warden's wife was getting ready to go to church. She was removing a jewelry box or a hat box from the closet shelf, and this dislodged a pistol. She didn't know that the night before, Arthur had stored his loaded gun on top of the box. He hid it up there so that the kids wouldn't find it and play with it. When it hit the floor, the gun went off, inflicting a fatal wound. Helen Glackey died of pneumonia 3 days following. And within the decade, even more bad luck. The warden, hard at work in his office, suffered a heart attack and died. It's said that Helen haunts not only the warden quarters, but also extended parts of the building. People say that they can smell a rose water perfume, which is her signature scent. It's said to this day that you can still hear the 2 talking very faintly. So like I said before, Arthur Glackey passed away in 1959 from a massive heart attack. The prison went from a lower level security to a maximum security prison while he was the warden. He was very stressed out during that time. His signature scent is cherry-flavored pipe tobacco, which people will smell as well. So I'm going to read the most haunted sites at the reformatory according to the Ohio State Reformatory's website. If you want to dive deeper into the ghosts, I would highly recommend doing some research. There's tons and tons and tons of resources that you can look into. I just don't want to spend a ton of time on this because I have so much more to show you from my own personal experience. So if you want to do that after this video, please feel free because there is so much out there. So in the East Wing, they said, lately this area has been pretty good for experiences and evidence. Rarely do we have a night where nobody experiences at least a few shadow people down here. Ew, that's creepy. I hate shadow people. Okay, number 7. The 3rd floor, middle admin. In this area, it gets to a lot of people. Shadow people, audible voices, footsteps, and the feeling of not being alone is the norm. I think I know exactly where they're talking about in this because this is actually where I had my first orb photo. So I'm going to put that photo on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. And I was going to include this later on in the video, but since I know exactly what they're talking about, I'm going to show this here. So this was the very first photo that I took with my flash on because this is the first area. There are no windows, so it's pitch black, and we're like, okay, so if you want to take a photo, use your flashlight. And they highly recommend taking 3 at a time, like in the same spot, just take 3. Very first time using my camera on my phone with the flash on, very first photo, this happens, and it's like right, taking up like the whole entire screen. I'm like, what the hell? And I showed the staff that, because I was curious, and they're like, yep, that's definitely an orb, and how you can tell is that you can see through it. If you can't see through it, it's most likely dust, and there is a shit ton of dust in this area. As you can tell, this place is massive. There's like no air circulation at all. There's no AC, there's nothing. There's barely any windows in this place. So there is a lot of dust flying around, but they say when you have something like that and you can see through it, that is an orb. And a ghost was just standing right in front of me, caught him off guard apparently, and it's like, boom, creepy, scary. Okay, back to the list. Number 6 is the sub-basement. This area has produced some wild experiences and evidence. This area has been avoided when the building was still in operation. I wonder if that's where the hole is. I think it is. Next up is the chapel, which we were also in. This area has made many skeptics less skeptical. Lately, the ghosts have been getting rather grabby up there. Ooh, that's creepy. When I was in there, honestly, I didn't feel uneasy. We were just so fucking hot, and I'm sorry for cussing, but like it was hot because it was July 4th weekend. There is no AC in there. And it is, you know, it's July in Ohio, and it gets hot, especially when you're in this giant building with no air movement. Oh my god, we were just kind of getting miserable right there. The next one is ooh. Okay, the west attic is number 4. They said, let's just say a very well-known paranormal celeb had an experience up there and refused to go back in. I'm not going to say who it was. I'll just say that he grabbed a scarf and walked out. Why do I feel like this is Ghost Adventures? I haven't actually seen his video, but I'm going to have to watch it. Number 3 is the admin basement. Why is it always the basement? The basements freak me out. There seems to be 2 different entities down here. One is nice while the other is not. The cell blocks, east and west. Of course. They say, I've seen these areas bring grown men to tears. Many murders and suicides have taken place in these areas. Yeah, it's an incredible sight to see. Oh, here it is. Okay. Solitary confinement, aka the hole. This was the prison inside the prison. Many men took their own lives while housed in this area. And this is from Scott Sukul, the ghost hunt manager. Okay, I said I wouldn't do any more research on ghosts, but I just have to. I'm trying to find where the location of the hole is in the prison, and I came across this ghost that lives in the basement, which is, I'm just like finding these, and I'm just going to read them off as I find them. So the basement of the reformatory is one of the creepiest places in the building. The spirit of a fatally beaten 14-year-old boy allegedly appears down there, alongside a prison guard with a malicious presence. Oh, that's scary. Okay, here's the hole. Yes, okay. I'm just going, ooh! Okay, I'm just going to read this real quick. So the hole is a solitary confinement located in the basement of the prison. The hole is where the worst prisoners went, where they were tortured, sometimes to death by prison guards. An infamous incident occurred when 2 prisoners were sent in the hole together and only one emerged, as I mentioned. At one point, over 100 prisoners were crammed in this tiny space designed for 20, of course. As a result, the hole is allegedly filled with creepy spirits who cause cold spots, nausea, make people feel as though an unseen person is breathing down their necks, and generally cause extreme discomfort. So going back to the chapel, I'm sorry if this is like crazy. I'm trying to read more about the chapel because I honestly didn't think it was that bad. Spirits supposedly lurk through the space, showing up as ghostly orbs in the photographs. While inside the chapel, you can hear phantom voices, and unseen hands will grab at you as you attempt to walk out of the main room. Ooh! Yeah, I did not feel terrible in there. Now I'm going to be talking about my own personal experience while we were there and what happened along this 2-hour tour. So when we first got in there, we just had to sign in and we were just waiting outside because, of course, it's hot inside and it's hot outside, so we're just kind of waiting. So our first visit was to the electric chair. They recently just got this in their possession, I think. Just a few years ago. This is the real chair that is inside of there. This is the real thing that has killed so many people. A lot of bad people, murders, everything, you name it. And it was just really eerie to see it. I don't think I've ever seen an electric chair before, like a real one. And it's just like, ooh, this is kind of spooky. So in the West Administrative Wing, they were originally the business offices of the prison. They restored this area into the Museum of the Ohio Prison System. They have the state of Ohio's electric chair, which was originally located in the Ohio State Penitentiary, which doesn't exist anymore. It was torn down in the 90s, and there have been a lot of stories of the original ghosts in the building, but when they attained the electric chair, all of the ghosts that were attached to that chair came along with it. Investigators say that they think there are between 15 to 25 ghosts attached to the chair itself, and this is the moment like where my digital camera died. I had my cousin with me, and I just told her, just take photos with it, and I had the voice recorder. She said she was trying to take photos of the electric chair, and she took one, and when she wanted to take another, there were blue lines all across the screen, and the camera couldn't focus, and then the battery just pretty much died. And I will say this, we have not used this camera in so long, and the batteries must have been so old. But when I first turned on the camera, it said it had a full battery, and I didn't bring up backup batteries, so that was my fault. But all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, that was quick. Investigators stated that the new ghosts that came in with the chair aren't, exactly the nicest, and they say that they will pick on the original prison ghosts, that's just mean. So the floor above the West Administrative Wing was closed for us. They are currently restoring it, and it should be done by now. They were creating a museum dedicated to the movie The Shawshank Redemption. We went there again, and on July 4th, they had a big event for the anniversary, and they opened this up. So it should be open and available for you all to see. And this is when our tour guide said that he was actually an extra in the movie. Like, no big deal, whatever. He was one of the prisoners in the background when the scenes were in the 1940s. And I'm so sorry, I don't know his name at all. I was not recording when he stated it, so I don't know his name, but he does work there and he does give tours often. So if anyone knows his name, please comment it down below, because I don't have any information on that. So going back to the tour, after we see the electric chair, we go down the hall. The tour guide says that in the early hours, there are sounds of people mopping using metal mop buckets. Today they don't have any metal mop buckets, but back when the prison was running, that would be the time when the prisoners were sent to mop the floors. They would hear footsteps and the smell of food cooking in this hallway as well. And even the archivist of the prison, who has been working there for over 20 years, has smelled cooking food before, but no one has cooked food in there for years. So this was kind of funny. There is a cutout of Morgan Freeman in the outdoor hallway, but there is another one in the parole board hearing room of him as well, from the Shawshank Redemption. So we were walking up. We see the first cutout. We're like, oh, okay. We go into the room, and it scares, like, everyone, and it was just so funny. Okay, so the tour guide says that during an investigation, a guy was taking a video in the parole board hearing room from the Shawshank Redemption movie. So he's taking a video in this room, and another guy was standing next to the cutout. When the guy moves away from the cutout, a shadow figure steps out from behind the cutout figure, and it wasn't any of their shadows. And that creeps me out. We are now on the second floor of the East Administrative Wing. This whole wing was the warden's territory. There's a kitchen, pantry, sitting room on the first floor. On the second floor, there are all the bedrooms for the warden and his family. On the third floor, they had guest bedrooms for visitors. What's weird about this prison is that a majority of the prison staff actually lived on site. They did this because they didn't have an instant communication back then and even paved roads yet, which is crazy. In the 94 years that the prison operated, they had a total of 11 wardens, and this is where he tells the story of the warden Arthur Glackey, which I just told you before. So we go up the third floor, now in the corridor. Here's a fun little story that the tour guide was telling us. There's usually 1 or 2 chairs in the hallway. The legend is that if a woman sits in it, they don't have any issues, but if the men sits in it, they will sometimes get a feeling that they aren't welcome. And I have like a fun little clip here, and I'll show that.
Sit in it, sometimes there is a distinct feeling that they're not welcome. There.
You've been nominated.
An investigator that comes by for investigations often says that he one time heard church bells on the third floor, which is weird because there aren't any nearby churches that you could hear the bells from. They're all way too far away. So I'm not sure what that's about. We traveled to where the guards would bunk. It was pitch black. So this is where I decided to start taking pictures with my flash on. So I'll show you this photo again, and I'll also insert the audio clip of me showing one of the tour guide helpers.
Yes, I know. You get a lot of rewards everywhere, but there's a lot of dust.
Okay. I thought it was dust.
There's a lot of dust everywhere. You can see.
I know.
It's full of dust.
I got this.
That's pretty cool. Oh.
Well, even Leah, look at the flashlight.
Yeah.
If you enlarge it and it stays milky, then the odds are pretty good it's paranormal. Now that is interesting.
It's pretty milky.
No, I didn't see the shaft. I just saw the dots. Now that is
You didn't see the
interesting.
shaft?
No, I didn't see that.
Because that was the first photo, and then I took more.
It's uninteresting.
It's interesting that this
No, that is
seems to be an area where there's a lot of activity.
So in this audio clip, I'm going to let you listen to it because it's not at all what I heard in real time. We're in like the old little hospital, makeshift hospital place. Then it was later transformed into, of course, more cells because they were overflowing with prisoners. And this is right above the chapel. So it is a massive area, and they actually just opened this up for the public to see again. My parents have been there several times and they have never seen this, so they were like, what are you talking about? We're like, where were you? Like, we're above the chapel, and they're like, we've never been up there before, so they must have just opened it up. So they are slowly restoring parts of the prison, but you know, a lot of the stuff is damaged and stuff like that, so they do have to make it safer. So we were up there, and it is just this massive place, and you can still see drawings from the prisoners. A lot of it was like their little drawing of some porn on the wall, and there was a lot of it just in case you're in there and you're with little kids. There are drawings of like naked women in there, but it's just crazy to see it because they don't have it protected by glass. You are there, you are in this space where prisoners were, and all of their original drawings are still on the wall. They don't repaint it, they don't do anything. So we're in the very back, and the tour guide's like, okay, we're gonna shut off all of the lights, and there are no windows at all. We are upstairs, like in an attic pretty much. It is so freaking hot up there. He's like, okay, we're just gonna shut off all the lights. We want everyone to be quiet and just like listen. And we're like, okay. And I had my cousin right next to me, and I had a whole bunch of people in front of me because we were towards the back of the group and like the very back part of the whole entire place. We weren't near the stairs or where we came in at. So it's just like, oh God, okay. So there was this one light like outside the front, like little entrance door. There must have been like this one light out there. So you could see this little tiny ball of light or whatever. So when it's pitch black in here, we're all trying to like be quiet. And you know, you get chatty. So everyone's like, oh, come on, shut up. And I thought I saw something move in front of the light. It is pitch black. No one has flashlights on. None of the tour guides have any sort of anything. But I saw somebody move in front of it. But again, there were tons of people in front of me. So it could have just been my eyes or somebody moving. But it was like kind of quick. And I'm like, you can't see anything. So I'm like, okay. I'm going to play this audio clip for you. And then I'm going to explain what I heard.
I guess right away.
Oh, I don't like this. Oh, I hate this. Okay. I'm just looking towards the window. Or that door. Oh.
And is someone just passed in front of the door outside?
What's right there?
What is that?
And John isn't it?
Did you hear running?
What? You don't see the light.
Did you hear that?
Turn it off. There was nothing. Did you see that?
I heard somebody
Come
running.
here and see this.
What is that? What is that? What is that? Okay, so in this clip, what I heard was somebody almost like running, and you can hear me say to my cousin, like, did you hear that? I don't even know. Like, I don't know what I said to her. I'm like, did you hear that? As soon as it happens. And it was just kind of weird because I was like listening. My ears have like a ring to it when it gets too quiet because 12 years of band destroys your hearing after a while. But so I'm just like, I'm trying to listen. People are like shuffling. We have like a couple of chatty people kind of near us. And I'm like listening. I wasn't really expecting anything. And then all of a sudden I just hear like somebody kind of like fast walk or almost like a run. And I'm like, did you hear that? Like, what was that? Did you hear that? And to me, it sounded like running. And my cousin didn't answer me, and it freaked me out because I can't see anybody. I can't see her. And then they turn the lights on, and I'm like, Megan, did you hear that? And she's like, no. And the chatty women are like, stop. No, you did not hear anything. No, please say you didn't hear anything. And I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Okay, but in this audio clip, it sounds like a door is closing or something fell. Sorry. And I've tried to listen over and over and over again. I had the volume really high up, but I can't hear footsteps. It just sounds like something fell or maybe a door closed or something, but nobody reacted to it at all, except for me. But I don't know. Let me know what you think that is. But that was really freaky because I heard it, and that's something, that's never really happened to me before. So let me know what you think. And then for the dowsing rods experiment that we kind of did, our tour guide, again, if you recognize him or know his name, please comment down below because I don't remember, and I want him to be recognized because he did such an incredible job. He is so knowledgeable. He's so excited about the place, and he was in the Shawshank Redemption movie, which is amazing. So here are the two clips. In the first clip that you're about to see, we are right outside the entrance of the chapel, and we're to the right of the room that was used for the Shawshank Redemption, it was the apartment where, I can't remember their names, I've only seen the movie once, and of course it was after I went to the place. That was my fault, I'm dumb. So in the movie, they actually were still inside of the prison, and they just turned the space into the apartment. If you've seen the movie, you know what it is, but I'll put it on the screen because I'm an idiot and I can't remember. But so we're right to the right of that, and we're right outside of the entrance to the chapel. And this spot has a couple of ghosts that like to just mess with you. So please watch the clip because he's amazing and he's very knowledgeable and he knows exactly who he's talking to, so it's super cool.
They're simply bent pieces of metal. You can actually just make them out of coat hangers or a sturdy wire. These kinds that I have are kind of nice because I bought a pair that have a separate little collar around them, so it's very easy for them to move, and you don't have to worry about holding them too tightly or anything like that. Typically, when using the dowsing rods, I like to say, if there's anyone here with us, can you please cross the dowsing rods? If there's anyone here in this hall or on the stairs that would like to communicate with us, can you cross the rods? Thank you. Okay, can you straighten the rods back out? Okay, will you straighten the rods back out? Okay, thank you. Am I speaking to a male? Cross the rods if this is a male that I am speaking to. Cross the rods if this is a female that I am speaking to. Okay, we got a cross. Thank you. Thank you. Can you straighten the rods back out? Did you work at the prison? Spirit that I'm talking to, were you employed here at the prison? You notice that quivering? I'm not getting a yes answer, but that quivering suggests she's still here. Okay, were you married to someone who worked here? Okay. Thank you. Can you straighten the rods back out? Did you live on site? Did you live here in the prison building itself? Okay, got a yes. Thank you. Can you straighten the rods back out, please? Go ahead, straighten them back out. Can you point from here toward the area in the building where you lived? Point with one of the rods or both of them to show us where you lived. Okay, it's pointing over toward the East Administrative Wing. Can you straighten the rods back up? Thank you. Is this Helen Gladkey? Apparently not. Is this a wife of one of the chaplains? Is this the chaplain's wife? Well, she wouldn't have lived in the East Administrative Wing. Okay. Is this the wife of a warden?
In the second video clip I'm going to show you, I can't remember where we are right now as I'm recording this. I'm obviously going to find out and put it on the screen. But someone, I think it was a mom and a girl, I think you can see her in the little video clip, but they said they kept feeling like a cold spot like at their ankles, and it was, you can guess it was hot up there, and we're upstairs. So they're like, I keep feeling like a cold spot and stuff like that. So he gets out his dowsing rods, and he seemed like very serious. Like he was curious who was up there. He didn't want to say who he thought it was because he wanted the ghost to say who he was, like by himself. But as you can see, we didn't get a lot of luck in this, but you can see in the video clip, I think, where he mentions it. But he said that this little boy, I guess he was a painter there at the prison or something. I don't think he was in prison. I don't believe he was. Maybe he's just a worker. But his spirit has been around this tour guide a little bit more in this space. So he wanted to see if he could chat with him. But he just wanted to see if he could connect with him because he's a more recent spirit that's been showing up. So I don't know if there's any further development on that. You can see this. Nothing crazy happens in this one, but just so you know, that's why it's not really working that well in this one.
I talked to you with the rods a couple months ago up here. In mid-May, I talked with a 15-year-old inmate who worked on the painting crew. Are you here tonight? If you're here, cross these metal rods to tell me that you're here. Okay? They crossed weakly. Can you straighten the rods back out? Straighten the rods back out. Very good. Were you a patient here at the hospital? If you were a patient here, cross the rods. If you were not a patient here, could you spread the rods further apart? Talking to the 15-year-old inmate who worked on the painting crew. Okay, there you go. The rods are spreading further apart. So you were not a patient. Okay, can you make the rods straight again? Make them run in the same direction. Well, he's very weak. Since you were not a patient here, you must have just painted up here. Did something happen to you up here? I don't know why in particular he would be in this area as opposed to some other random place in the prison. Did something happen to you here? Cross the rods. Something happened to you. Was this your favorite room in the building? Cross the rods if this was your favorite room. Okay, still not getting it. Was this the room that you were assigned to paint? I don't know why I've encountered him here. I'm not any other place. Can you point to where you worked at? Go ahead and point one or both of the rods to where you worked. Point to where you painted. Okay, over there. You're going to have to keep gradually working on him until you figure out more of this story.
And that is all that I have for you. So thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you for sticking it out to the very end. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see all of the other places that I've been to. I have one more video lined up, and that's about it. Thank you guys so much. Bye.